Welcome back to the same location. So this week we are taking a look at the top of the line A segments from Perodua, the Axia Advance and the Bezza Advance, to see the differences between the two. What up guys, Izzat from WapCar.my and welcome back to another car review video. So this week we're taking a look at the Axia AV and the Bezza AV, because these are the top of the line A segments that Perodua has to offer. Now, the Bezza AV is priced at 48,000 ringgit and the Axia AV is priced at 41,000 ringgit. There's a big difference there, so let's dive down deeper to see what makes the difference of the two. We'll start off with some general information. First, obviously, the Bezza is a bigger car than the Axia on the outside. Now, the interior dimensions, they are exactly the same in both cars. So the cabin space is exactly the same. Even the wheelbase is exactly the same. Now, for the exterior, the Bezza is 525 millimeters longer and taller by 15 millimeters. So it is significantly longer, and that translates into bigger boot space. Now the Axia has a boot space of 280 liters, while the Bezza actually has a boot space of 508 liters before putting the seats down for both cars. Now the Axia weighs significantly less than the Bezza, but to be honest, both cars are underneath the 1 ton mark. So the Axia comes in at just 80 kilograms lighter than the Bezza. Now we're looking at the biggest difference, which is the powertrain next. Now the one I'm currently driving is actually the Bezza, and the Bezza actually comes with a 1.3 liter dual VVTi engine, whereas the Axia AV comes with a 1 liter VVTi engine. The Bezza actually pushes out 98 PS of power and 121 Nm of torque, as compared to the 1 liter Axia, which is 67 PS of power and 91 Nm of torque. Now, both cars are using the same 4-speed automatic transmission, but when it comes to fuel consumption, this is the claimed fuel consumption, yeah? So the Bezza gets 22 kilometers per liter with a 36 liter fuel tank, whereas the Axia gets 21.6 kilometers per liter with a 33 liter fuel tank, which is interesting, but I think I can guess why. The bigger engine will be a bit more efficient as compared to the smaller engine. Now on the outside, aside from the size, of course the difference you're going to see are a few things. The main difference is going to be on the lights that is provided. The Bezza comes with LED headlights, whereas the Axia comes with halogen projector headlights. Next biggest difference that you're going to see will be the rims. So the Axia is fitted out with 14-inch rims, whereas the Bezza is fitted out with 15-inch two-tone alloy wheels. Oh yeah, alloy wheels for both cars. And at the back, both cars do get LED combination taillights. Well, that's about it for the outside. Let's take a look on the inside. Now on the inside, as I said just now, the cabin are exactly the same size. Only a few things here and there that are different. The biggest difference would be the upholstery itself. The Bezza actually gets leather seats, whereas the Axia gets fabric seats. So pretty much that. When it comes to the front seats, both have the exact same seats in terms of size. They're both getting like the semi-bucket seats for the front for both cars. Next biggest difference you're going to see is the instrument cluster itself. You can see on the Bezza, the instrument cluster, on the left you've got your rev meter and on the right you've got your speedometer, whereas the Axia has a bit more compact looking instrument cluster, and both of them are white background illuminated. Now for charging ports, the Axia only comes with a 12-volt cigarette lighter output at the front, whereas the Bezza has the same 12-volt at the front and has an additional USB charging port at the center console here for the rear. Now for entertainment, they're pretty much the same actually. Both of them are using the exact same head unit along with the exact same number of speakers, which are 4. So sound wise, they're pretty much the same. For the steering wheel, is exactly the same, leather wrap with your multi-function buttons on the left hand side. Now when it comes to safety, you may think that there are differences between the two, but to be honest, there is not. I can actually point out some differences, which is when it comes to central locking, the Axia only has the lock on your left hand side here close to the door handle, but the Bezza actually has a central locking button at the center console here, which is very, very nice to have. And now when it comes to hill start assist, that would be the next thing that the Axia doesn't have, but the Bezza has on that, which is a nice plus point. And the Bezza also comes with its own idling function, whereas the Axia doesn't. When it comes to airbags, both cars have the exact same one. You've got 2 airbags for the front passenger and the driver, as well as ASA 2.0 for both cars, which is very, very impressive to be honest. Because when it comes to the safety kit, in these 2 cars, given the price point, it is a very good deal to be honest. You've got ASA 2.0 in both the Axia and the Bezza Advance. Alright, so I'm going to go with how does the Axia feel like first before we start talking about the Bezza. Now for the Axia, the car looks small, but once you're inside the cabin, it actually feels kind of big to be honest. With the car priced at about 41,000 ringgit, there are many modern conveniences which I love. Push start button, the keyless entry, Bluetooth connection, so it feels like a very well-rounded car. Then for both cars, to be honest, the fuel economy is fantastic. I really like the fuel economy in both cars. I couldn't get to the numbers that were claimed by Perodua, but I got close. In the Axia, I managed to clock 18 kilometers per liter, but in the Bezza, I only managed to clock. Hold up, let me just take a look. In the Bezza, I managed to only clock about 17 kilometers per liter. But then again, I've got a heavy foot, right? Now, comfort-wise, to be honest, I cannot tell the difference. Both cars are completely comfortable to me. I mean, I'm 170 cm tall. So, to be honest, in both cars, even though the Axia is a smaller car, but the cabin space is exactly the same. So, both cars are completely identical when it comes to comfort. But I've got to say, because the Bezza actually comes with 4 cylinders and the Axia 3, the Axia doesn't feel as smooth to drive as compared to the Bezza. You will get that immediate juttering at the beginning, before you start moving your car, but once it moves, it's quite smooth. I've got to admit though, both cars are quite well built. I've had a Viva before, then when I started driving the Axia, I compared it to the Viva that I had before. I was like, right, okay, so the quality is there, you can actually see the improvement in quality, which is fantastic, given that Perodua is one of the most sold cars in Malaysia, one of them. It's good to see that they are always improving their quality with every iteration of the models that they've got now. So, how about the Bezza? Well, the Bezza pretty much feels like a standard sedan, A-segment sedan actually. It feels like a standard A-segment sedan. To compare between the two, the Axia and the Bezza, I cannot tell any difference. But what I can say about the Bezza is that this car is nice. I really like this car, to be honest. Fuel consumption is great. Handling wise is fine. There's a bit of play here, but I think it's completely fine. Engine response is what you would expect from a 1.3 liter. So nothing to shout about there, but it's good enough for you to actually do what you need to do in this car, Right, so who are these cars for? I want to take a stab at the Bezza first. So the Bezza is to me, it's I would say it's meant for those people who want a basic car but with modern day conveniences. When running cost is, you know, a concern of yours, then the Bezza is actually good. What you get, the bang for your buck of what you get, is the entire package. You know, you get a car with modern day conveniences, you get a car that saves you quite a amount of fuel, big boot space, and maximum safety features. Then the Bezza is for you. The Axia is meant for somebody who just wants a city car, to be honest. Wants to get from point A to point B with exactly the same function, just minus the boot space. Because when it comes to everything else, the Axia does everything well. You know, it does everything well. Saves fuel, gets you from point A to point B very safely, just that it minus the boot space. But when it comes to long distance driving, okay, long distance driving, I have to give it to the Bezza. Because the Bezza feels sturdier for long distance driving as compared to the Axia. That's just in my opinion. I've driven both in city and highway environments, and I've got to say the Bezza feels a lot better to drive on the highway as compared to the Axia. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. We're not saying that one car is better than the other, it just comes down to what you want and what actually will suit your needs, to be honest. If you don't have the cash for it, the Axia will do you just well. If you have an additional 7 grand and you need additional boot space and you tend to go out of KL a lot, then the Bezza would actually suit you better than the Axia. So that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? To the Bezza and Axia owners, do sound off in the comments below what you like about your car, and share your experiences in the comments below so that other people know how it's like living with either or. If you like the video, do click the like button and share it out to whoever may find it useful. And if you'd like to support us, do smash that subscribe button and click that notification icon to be updated on future videos. So guys, this is Izzat for All Car Channel signing off. Take care everybody and stay safe.